Okay, there we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's winter camp. My name is Clementine Bordeaux with Racing Magpie. On behalf of the whole team, I want to welcome you to an exciting presentation today that's a part of our seasonal program called Winter Camp. We're joined with students from Black Hills State University presenting a talk called "There is no pizza at this panel," a Black Hills State University student narrative. I adore the title because that when I worked at a college or university, that's the only way we got people to come was to serve food. So I appreciate that acknowledgement. If you don't know, Racing Magpie is a Lakota-centric arts and culture organization located here in Mini-Luzaha, Otumahe, which was founded in 2015. Racing Magpie centers the Lakota practice of being a good relative in everything that one does. Our work is focused on elevating and amplifying the ongoing work of community-based artists and culture bearers in the region. And as part of being a good relative, this program reimagines the Lakota winter camp model of problem solving and community building in today's world by examining the deeper cultural roots and the way that Lakota people do things and how we interact with the universe around us. While these events are open to the public, we always uplift and center Oceti Shakoan community members as both presenters and attendees. We, of course, want to thank the Bush Foundation for their generous sponsorship of this program. And if there are other ways that you want to support Racing Magpie or any of our panelists or artists that we collaborate with, you can make a donation through Racing Magpie on our website, or you could stop by and drop off a donation at our location here in Rapid City. And of course, you could always support the Native artists and community members that we work with. So for example, I know the students have a powwow coming up next month, so you can always make a donation to their powwow efforts, or of course, attend the powwow when it occurs. So some housekeeping: if you have questions and you're joining us through Facebook Live, I'll be monitoring the comment section in the chat on Facebook, so you can drop a question or comment there. Or if you're joining us here in the Zoom room, you can drop a question or comment in the chat and I'll be monitoring it as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Curtis, Christian, Eunice, and Lara, and let you all share a little bit about your experiences.
Okay, cool. So my name is Eunice. I am majoring in photography here at Black Hills State University. I'm vice president of Lakota Oniche, and I'm also part of the internship that the center is currently doing. But we are wanting to keep this like an open discussion and kind of talk about our experiences in college and everything. So we have Lara, Curtis, Christian. In the center, we call him Chubbs. So we call him Chubbs, that's his name. In May of this year, and me and Lara also have our senior show coming up April 22nd at the Doll. So that is also open for anyone to come and see our artwork and just kind of like where we fit into like the art department here at BH. Yeah, but I'm from Cheyenne River. I'm a Leo, and my pronouns are she, they. But yeah, that is me. And Lara, do you want to go?
Hi, my name is Lara No Braid. I'm a graphic design major and a psychology major here at Black Hills State. I'll be graduating in December. I'm an enrolled member of the 3 affiliated tribes on my mom's side, and on my dad's side, I'm Oglala, and I'm from Rocky Ford and Pine Ridge Reservation. So I'm pretty excited to be doing this. I'm excited. So that's all I have to say about myself.
I'm Curtis Peterson. Oh, I'll go with Chubbs. Hi, my name is Curtis Peterson. I'm from Cheyenne River. My major is math and science education. And I'm the president of ACES, American Indian Science Engineering Society. Okay, go ahead, Chubbs.
Hi, my name's Christian. I'm from Red Shirt on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Like everyone's been saying, my reservation nickname is Chubbs that I've had since I kid, and it's just been kind of following me ever since. I'm part of the Lakota O organization, and I'm also part of the internship that's recently been started here at the Center for American Indian Studies. And my major is American Indian Studies, and my minor is outdoor education.
Okay, so Lara, we have a bit of like just of a slideshow to kind of talk about each thing here at the center. I think the first thing we're going to talk about is Lakota O. So Lara, if you want to share the screen or our slides.
Okay, I've never done screen sharing before, so
Yeah, it's going to be a new experience.
I think I can do this. Share that one. Okay, everyone can see it.
Yeah, it looks so nice.
Yep. Okay. So. Oh. Okay. So with Lakota Michie, we're a student-led organization, and we really try to kind of bring together the Native and non-Native communities here on campus. So, for example, we like to do fundraisers for our spring powwow, usually Indian taco sales, and we've had what we had like maybe 4 so far this year, so far this whole school year. That was really fun. And we always do our red shirt cultural exchange in the winter. So we always put up Christmas trees, and we'll have little angels that have just a few items that the students at Red Shirt Table would like to get. And it's from, I think it's kindergarten up to 5th grade, or no, 8th grade, I think. Yeah. So we always do that every year, and that's always a really great thing to experience because a group of us get to go down there to Red Shirt and take the presents down there. We just kind of hang out for the day, and it's really fun to just be down there and just kind of give all those younger students our own experiences, since some of us have come from that school too. We also like to do movie nights with Lakota O, just something at the end of each month to kind of like relax and just kind of hang out. Everybody can chill. We always get snacks, fun stuff. And we always like to try and do something on campus that really kind of promotes our culture. So it was really fun this past semester. We were able to do a Native American night recognition at some of the basketball games. So a lot of the Native student athletes from track, basketball, I think we had soccer, a couple of soccer athletes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we were all recognized, and students that are in ACEs and Lakota O, we were all during halftime, we were taken out to the middle of the court, and we all got to, you know, just represent who we are, and we all were in ribbon skirts, and it was just a really fun thing for us to do.
Yeah, going off about the Red Shirt Culture Exchange, I got to go down there. I think it was also Chubb's got to go if he wants to talk about that more, but I thought it was really it's something that's kind of like a tradition that's embedded in Lakota Michie, and it's something that we all really enjoy doing. And I think it's just really fun whenever we put up our Christmas trees on the campus and you get to see all the little angels getting taken. And I think one of the highlights is when all of the angels are taken and then we get all those donations after. So that's probably like the funnest part, is when we see like all of our hard work kind of paying off, having that wrapping party, and then all getting together early in the morning to go drop off those presents.
Yeah, and I kind of got a unique experience with that because I went to Red Shirt, and so when I was a little kid, I got a gift from Lakota O every year, and it was really nice to be able to like get something as a kid growing up, even though like it could be something small. It always just made it that much more better. And so it's kind of a no-brainer for me once I got to BH to kind of join in and help out. This past year, I don't think we went like during the pandemic and stuff, but like this past year we got to go, and it was really fun to see my old school, and a bunch of old teachers were there, and to hand out all these gifts to the kids, and it was kind of nice to be on the other side of that. So I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things about Lakota.
Curtis, you want to talk about ACEs?
Yeah. So ACES, we've just revamped our ACES chapter here at Black Hills State University. We have about 7 members. ACES is a nonprofit organization which nurtures building and community by bridging science and technology with traditional values. That's a very new thing that's going on, is indigenizing STEM education. So here in South Dakota, we have about 30% of our school students are Native American. So we're trying to create resources that cater more to our students. Also, ACES is one of the largest professional organizations there are in the United States. And ACES also offers scholarships through the Indian Education Incorporated for quite a bit of money.
And
And
also,
go ahead, Lara.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're also doing a cleanup this year or this semester. We were planning for an Earth Day cleanup, but we ended up moving it up a couple of days. So on the 20th, I think it is, we're going to be doing a cleanup here in town somewhere. So that's what we're getting ready for this semester with ACES. Okay.
Okay, so this was actually, the center has got NEH grant, and it's from the National Endowment for the Humanities grant. So we started working with, I was approached by Erla to kind of do this just because my major is photography and I like kind of wanted to like get into the film industry a little bit. And she mentioned that the center is going to be working with John and Ken Little, and they have done a couple of films. So the point of this internship film that we are doing, it's a Hawashtea Ushpapi. It's capturing their good voices. And description is like pandemics of the past, the coronavirus pandemic has been particularly devastating to American Indian populations. This NEH grant will restore and expand through virtual platforms. The BHSU Center ability to offer public programming, including the annual Wachipi, American Indian Awareness Week, speaker series, and coursework. It will also result in a professional film to document and preserve elders' wisdom and cultural knowledge. So we're actually interviewing 5 elders, and we're just kind of highlighting their voices and like in the community and how they can benefit the center educational wise and different platforms. So far we've had a couple of workshops. There are a couple interns that haven't had that experience of working with equipment and such. And I believe we're gonna start filming, because we got through the research process. We're gonna start filming, I believe next month, wasn't it, Chubbs? Yeah. But it's something I'm really excited about, and I just know it's going to turn out really good, just because seeing John and Ken's work is really inspirational, and I think they are the right people to do the job. And it's really fun because we get to work with an all Indigenous crew, and you know, we're all different from different points in life and everything, and it's going to be really eye-opening.
Can you share a little bit about the research process, like what you all have had to do?
Yeah, I had to do, I'm just mostly doing creative direction and just kind of like learning the ropes of helping the interns and picking out the themes of what kind of relates to each other and kind of getting comfortable with the interview process. But they had to look at each elder that we're researching through what knowledge they have and what they have been through, so we can help that interview flow more easily.
think that's it for
I'll-
the PowerPoint.
I'd like to say real quick that the film is like one of the cool things that we're doing. It's one of the things I'm most excited about. But this internship is kind of like, there has a bunch of different like avenues that we're all working on. So kind of how the description said, we have the American Indian Awareness Week where speakers come and we hold these talks where people can come and gain more awareness. It's also to help with like the coursework. So a lot of times we're referencing stuff that like elders talk about, and especially if they talk about it in what we're recording, we want to be able to use that in classrooms as well to keep teaching into the future as well. And then there's also other little aspects that just help in the American Indian Department in general. So part of the things that I've been tasked with is I help like with the Lakota language aspect, kind of do the Lakota phrase of the month here on campus, and we'll do like Lakota and Arikara and Oneida words of the week. And then also like during the summer, I'll be helping revitalize the native grasses garden we have here on campus, as well as collecting plants out in the hills so we can use it for the upcoming ethnobotany class BH is going to offer here in the fall. So it's kind of like all the stuff wrapped up together into one. So it's a lot of fun things that a lot of us from different backgrounds and interests can all find something to do that, you know, that we're pretty good at and help out.
Oh, and one thing to note, one thing that was kind of connected to the internship, they asked me to make the new logo for the Center for American Indian Studies. And that was really fun. Got to make the Wachipi poster and, you know, refixed our bulletin board that has been up for like, Dona years. It was all yellow and just gross, but we fixed it up and just doing like small little like creative changes, updating photos in our information booth for the center. It was just, that's kind of the direction of what we do as well for the internship. Good job showing the presentation, Lara.
Okay, I was like, I don't know when to turn it off.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Thank you all. So I know you had sent some questions along, and hopefully some of our Facebook audience will have some questions too. But just to begin, what are some changing factors in your education journey that are different from back home to now? So I think also just sharing, maybe if you share about how you came to your major choice or your like where you're at in your education, in your undergraduate education. So whoever would like to start, I pass it to you.
Go ahead, Curtis. Passing the mic.
All right. So I chose to be a teacher or a math teacher. First off, because we don't have very many. I went to CB, so we have 3 positions, and we had 1 when I went to school there. And then my mother is a principal at the upper elementary in Eagle Butte, and my father was a teacher. He just retired recently. And you know, my grandmother was also a teacher, home economics teacher, so I kind of chose that. I didn't know very many jobs other than like being a rancher or a teacher. So my uncle told me not to be a rancher, so I chose to be a teacher. I think my dad told me not to be a teacher, but I didn't really know what to do. So I came to Black Hills State. That's where my dad went, and my mother also went there. You know, just seems right. I like to teach. I substitute teach during spring break and during the summer. I do a lot of things with children. Also, I'm looking forward to being maybe a coach in football. I really enjoyed football when I was in high school, so I'd like to coach it, and I think you learn a lot about team things in football. And then Black Hills State, I just kind of chose it because it was close to my house, and my mom and dad went there, so that's where I went to school. So, back to you, Eunice.
You're gonna pass it back to me? Okay, cool. What made me choose my major? So I wasn't planning on being a photography major because I didn't think it was really an option. I started off as an art major, a studio art major because I got a scholarship and I went to USD. Then I realized I didn't like it there, went to mass communications. It was a lot of switches, and I came to OLC here in Eagle Butte, which was really nice because it was close to home, but I didn't have what I really wanted to do as a student. It was more of like the smartest choice as a student to like, oh, I'm just gonna do this and do generals and do what I have to do. And I really wanted to find what my real passion was and something that I know I would enjoy doing that doesn't require studio art, because I wasn't amazing at it, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. And then I came to Black Hills State because my cousin Alberta was here, and then my auntie Jolene went, attended BHSU. So I had to take an art elective for my general studies. And then I came across Steve Babbitt, and he was a photography professor here at BH. And he taught me a lot of what I didn't see in a whole different avenue of where I kind of wanted to be. So when I picked up the camera about 3 years ago, and like doing black and white film and just kind of like reconnecting and like finding, it was funny in a way because it came in the right time where I was trying to reconnect with not more of myself and just finding where I stand in the art world. And yeah, I think that's what made me choose my major was Steve, because he saw a lot of artistic value in me that I didn't even see in myself. Okay, Lara, I want to hear yours, so I'm passing it to you.
Okay. So after high school, I went to Oglala Lakota College for a year because I didn't really want to go to college when I was in high school, but I just kind of ended up going that way. And I went to OLC for a year, and that was really nice because I just got to be at home for a little bit. And then I decided to go to Black Hills State because of their study abroad program. They had, they're basically a partner school with the school that I wanted to go to in Korea, which was Konkuk University. And I ended up getting to go in the fall of 2019. And so before that, I decided I was going to be an art major because I've always enjoyed art. That was my favorite class all throughout elementary, middle school, high school. And I, like Eunice, I started out in studio art, but I was like, nah, I don't really like this. So I ended up going into graphic design because I really enjoy doing digital artwork. And I just think it's a really cool way to make art. So I just decided to go with that. But then over the years, as I took more psychology classes, I realized that I really was interested in psychology and how, as we grow up as kids, like whether it's a good experience or bad experience, how that ends up affecting us into adulthood and later. So I decided that I wanted to study that more. And I think after I graduate, I think I'm going to go to graduate school and try and get a PhD and become a clinical psychologist. So yeah, my journey has definitely taken me on quite a few different paths so far. Okay, go ahead, Chubbs.
Mine was kind of a long path to get where I am at today too. It was when I was graduating high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And we had a computer coding class that I was pretty good at. So I decided to go to Dakota State University and be a computer science major. But it didn't take long for me to decide that this isn't what I'd like to do. You know, it was like 8 a.m. honors classes and you're looking at like 3 Word documents of code. And I was like, this isn't fun and what I want to do. And so I was kind of searching for places. I transferred here to BH because my brother was here and he was part of Lakota O and he was always in the center and he was a student assistant basketball coach and he really spoke highly of BH. So I came here with him and I was kind of looking around and I decided I want to work outdoors because that's probably what I'm most familiar with. If any of you guys been to Red Shirt, you kind of notice that you kind of have to be used to being outdoors. It's not a lot of concrete and stuff, but I decided to change my major to outdoor education. And I had a minor in American Indian Studies. And I wanted to become a park ranger for the Park Service. And that's what I did. I went to school till up about 2019. Then I took a break and I actually got offered for a position to work on the reservation as a park ranger. And I accepted it. And then as I was working, I kind of noticed that outdoor education prepared me well for like overall for the field, but I realized there's not really much of people looking, like leaning into the Native American aspect of the Park Service. So personally, me, I believe that like the national parks are possible because of Native American environmental practice and all this, and this is traditional ecological knowledge that is kind of making a comeback now. And so I really wanted to focus in on that, and I became passionate about it. So when I returned here to BH, I switched my major to American Indian Studies, and I turned my minor into outdoor education. And yeah, hoping to turn it into a career into the conservation field, and I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. I really enjoyed hearing your different journeys and kind of how it's not always the same. I think that's good to hear. And I am so excited for a clinical psychologist. We need more of you. And yes, also so we have another presenter that'll be presenting in our winter camp, Sheena Bear Eagle, who's a park ranger. And I'm always so excited about park rangers. So another question, why do you think so many college students want to go home early, right? And what helped you stay and continue to pursue your higher education? Whoever would like to start.
That's a really good question. I think I'm gonna open it up between me and Lara, because I think when we were kind of like talking about it, it's, for me, I'm very, very family oriented. I grew up in kind of a really big household where it was like 20 plus people every like other day, where we feed a lot of people. And I think the hardest thing was just, I think that's why I came home from USD to OLC, and OLC was fun, but I think the center is what really, really helped me feel more familiar with home. It's like, if I didn't have the center, I don't think I would have lasted as long personally, because I'm, like I said, very family oriented. I need to be around at least some natives to, like, you know, we always sit in the center and crack jokes and everything like that. And that just made me feel like very, very close to home, and very, it was an easy transition from like being with someone every day to just being independent and being on your own and standing on your own 2 feet, which is what I'm really grateful for. And I think that was the easiest part of, I think that's what made it a lot easier to stay and not really go home early, even though I really wanted to. No matter how bad, I was like, I wanted to just call my grandma, my auntie, my mom. I was like, just wanted to pick me up. I was like, I wanted to go home. No, they said, you have to tough it out, you know, last on your own. You'll see us during every other weekend, you know, whatever it is. It's fine. They're always a call home. And, you know, I think it really helps you grow as a person as well, because you're kind of transitioning from being a young high school student to now you have to be a young adult. And it's kind of just like taking a jump off a cliff, and you have to like go for it. Okay, and you guys want to have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I do. So yeah, I was really fortunate because my parents really, they didn't push me out the door, but they were like, yeah, go explore the world, go have fun. So it wasn't as hard for me to stay here or like be away from my family, but you know, you do get homesick and you get really lonesome sometimes. So having the center here, it definitely kind of gives you that sense of community and that sense of home that I realize that is pretty necessary to some people, or like it just feels good to have. So like when I was in Korea, I was the only native there. I was one of the few Americans there, just because of all the people who had went this time that I did. It was very abrupt in realizing how alone I felt, but I was so excited to be there that it wasn't that bad. But when I came back to the center and I saw like all my friends, and you know, I got back into the rhythm of school for a little bit because then COVID happened. I just realized how much it had an impact on me being here at the center and having that community here and having my friends, because it just feels good to have, and it's necessary to have, I think, to have a little community like this. So I definitely think the center was a big part of that for me. anyone else want to go?
I can go. One of the things that like I think is that it's kind of what Eunice said is you're going straight from a young high school student to now you're a young adult. And that comes with a lot of new freedoms, and you could do a lot of different things, but it also comes with like, you know, you're free to make your own mistakes and stuff. And sometimes that could be really hard, especially if you go somewhere where you're far from home. You know, me coming from where I'm from, like, you know, you turn to your family if you didn't know what you wanted to do, or if you're having trouble, some, you know, you ask your uncle or auntie or grandma, and they'll kind of offer some advice and stuff. But when you're a new student to a new campus, a lot of times you don't have someone to answer or ask questions like that. And so it kind of feels like you're taking this whole burden on by yourself. And so when you mess up or fail, which always happens, it kind of hits you a little harder and it feels like it's all your fault and you can't do it and stuff like that. So I think that's the main challenge you got to overcome. And how I can overcome it was a lot of what Lara and Eunice said already, is this kind of community here at the center, is to be those people, you know, like in outdoor education, a lot of times this was stuff completely new to me and I didn't really know what to do, and I could just ask someone else and they'll offer advice, or even just being able to joke around about something we're going through just helps it make easier. And then it kind of helps you get refocused and try again. And so I think that's the big thing, is sometimes it feels like you're here by yourself, but it doesn't always have to be.
So what was the question again? Is could you restate that?
Yeah, I also am posting them in the chat too.
Okay.
Why do you think so many college students want to go home early, and what helped you stay to pursue your higher education?
I think a lot of students want to go home early because they rely on their family, or I guess I'm reliant on my family. I like to see them every day, and it's hard not to see them. But also, like Chubb said, if you don't have anyone to ask questions about, then it's hard to stay somewhere, right? I guess a community is really important, like in the center. I didn't realize how different, you know, Spearfish is from Eagle Butte until I got to Spearfish, and there's not a lot of Native people there. They don't know a lot about what it's like to live in Eagle Butte. Trying to get friends in the school was just different, because you ask where you're from. Well, I'm from Eagle Butte. To say, well, how's that? I heard that's a bad place. Heard there's a lot of problems there. And it's like, yeah, there are problems there, but it's a lot more than just problems. It's a community. It's where I live. So it's hard to, you know, relate with other people that aren't from the reservation or Native. So I think the center helped me a lot. When I first got to college, or when I came and visited, because I signed up to go to Black Hill State on a Wednesday and we started school on a Monday. And my father had brought me to the center to meet Dr. Marcus, and I met Rochelle. She used to be an employee there at the university, and I just kind of liked it there. Had some friends that went there. Had some people I knew. It's helped a lot, just having people that you know, having like a friend list.
Thank you, Curtis. I think that builds on our next question. Are there attributes you carried from your culture, or I would say from your community, and how has that helped you on this education journey?
Geez, really good question. Wonder who came up with these questions, Lara.
Not me.
I'll just humble. Okay.
I think it was actually kind of a good variation of what kind of Chubbs was talking about for a second. When you transition from that environment to this one, I think one thing that we all had for each other, and it just kind of like, it wasn't established, we didn't know each other. But when we walk into the center and we all, like, you know, it's your first time walking in, it's more of like a mutual respect, and we built like this little family structure that we have, and it's just automatic. Like we just respect each other. We have like this family thing because we know we have each other to rely on. And a lot of those, I don't know, how would you say that, Lara?
I don't know, like, I think it's because a lot of us come from like similar tribes. Like the majority of us are Lakota. So I think we all kind of have those cultural aspects like ingrained in us already. So I think we all just kind of feed off of that from each other and like build off of that with each other. So I think it's a community thing for sure. Like, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's definitely, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's a community.
There's a video that the Osheti Shakoin Essential Understandings had created, and it had Sidney Bird in it. And he was talking about his time at the boarding school in Nebraska. And he said he had met this lady named Rose. And he was very young at the time. And this lady Rose said, "We are Lakota, we take care of each other." That's what it's our group. We take care of each other.
That's it. That's what I was trying to say.
Chubbs, do you have anything you want to say on that? Because I know this was kind of like what you really wanted to talk about and you brought up during our meeting.
Yeah, I kind of found that there's like different parts that I like turn to more once I got to these new environments, and it's kind of it's a lot of like res humor that I've really turned to, and even just using like res slang and stuff like that really helped me feel at home. It's kind of, you know, like where I come from in Red Shirt, we didn't really have that much internet or stuff to do. So half the time you're just hanging out with your cousins, making jokes and laughing about stuff. And so that was really important to me, that all these challenges I was going through in school that I could just laugh about. And like when I was an outdoor ed major, I had to take this beginner swimming class, and I didn't know how to swim at all. And I asked all my friends, they just said they got tossed in. So I jumped in the deep end and was almost the first person to drown in beginning swimming in BH history. And that was really hard and challenging. And it was easy to come back and like just laugh with some of the other professors and people about it and make jokes like how it went. Like, how would you expect someone from the Badlands to do in a swimming class? And so that was really important to me, to have this humor and just be able to talk to each other and have people that understand your jokes. And it just makes things a little easier when you're going through your daily stuff. And that was really important to me. And I'm glad I was able to like turn to it more and kind of use it to depend on and get through some challenges.
I think I'm gonna go off the script a little bit. But that makes me think about what has, if anyone can answer this, but what has surprised you about being in college? Or what is it like, what is the expectation you had that actually was totally different than what you thought before you got there?
I could go first. One thing that really shocked me is like the culture aspect of it. Like, you don't think your culture is that different from the rest of the state or the world when you're like on the res going to school. You just think you're a normal kid. And then once you get to college and then you find yourself like even the simplest things, you kind of have to explain yourself and like, oh, you guys didn't do that, or like you don't know what that means and stuff like that. Or there's some that they'll say and want you to do that you've never heard of, and you didn't know people actually did that. And so like for me, like I really struggled writing emails for the longest time because I never had to do it for my first 18 years. And when I got to college, it was a real struggle for me. And I thought I sounded dumb when I wrote them. And so it's just those like real small things, and you don't realize your cultures are just that much different until you get there, and then you kind of realize that you kind of got to adjust quite a bit. And that was a big challenge for me.
I'll probably answer that a little bit. I think one of the things that I struggled with personally with really surprised me. Well, I've only heard about MacBooks, and being an art major and being in photography, everyone else had leverage on that and like technology and like Chubb's like emails and like all these different things that they all knew how to do. It was like they knew about, there's probably a bunch of classmates I know that like, probably married, to do all this taxes, do all these like different resources that they kind of had. And it was easier for them to like learn all those things. And for me, I was more like still in awe that I was like in front of a MacBook computer and I had to learn how to do all these different little things. And it was a struggle, but it was really fun. And I think one other thing was that there are a lot more outspoken people out here than me because I was very shy, but being in college, it really helped me open up my shell a little bit more. So now I just, there wasn't a lot of natives on campus. So it was like either I stand out or I be hidden. And I was like, I didn't want to be hidden anymore. It's like with the center and everyone else here, I was like, it's just, so that was the big surprise to me that there wasn't a lot of natives either. So what about you, Lara?
Mine was kind of the opposite. So I'm originally from Denver, Colorado, and I went to school with predominantly non-natives my entire life up until 9th grade when I went to Red Cloud. And what kind of surprised me was that it was kind of easy to go back to having to like be around non-natives, having to explain myself, having to hear the jokes about my last name, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it wasn't pleasant, but I had been used to it before. But it was just kind of like wow, people are still like this. Like non-natives are still annoying when it comes to like a lot of cultural things. I think what was hard for me was definitely the social aspect of like my first year here. A lot of my friends were like, let's go to this campus event. Let's go to this campus event. Like, let's go hang out with these people. Let's go hang out with those people. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of like socializing. So I kind of had to break out of my own shell and get more comfortable being around people because my high school was so small and I just had my small group of friends. And I think it was a expectation that I wasn't expecting at all to have such a shift in social life all of a sudden. So I think that was my biggest thing for sure. Go ahead, Curtis.
I underestimated how much work it is because we went from like in high school, or we didn't, do a lot of work as compared to college and how hard it was. Like, I didn't think I was very prepared to go into math because we didn't, like a lot of my peers in the math major, they took calculus in high school and I didn't take calculus in high school. So I'm behind them, and it's a lot different, and then like Eunice said, we didn't have like a lot of technology in the school. So like using a computer for a lot of your courses is just different. We used books and paper. That we really didn't have internet in high school. So, I mean, not that I had internet at home, but like just using a computer for your work wasn't like a thing. So you had to get used to using a computer, taking notes. It's not a thing we learned that in high school, but we didn't have to take notes. I don't know. But yeah, just the amount of work that you do in school is, I just underestimated it, I guess.
I guess building off of that question, I know we have other questions, but what have you done to help yourselves with time management and balancing the social and your schoolwork and your internship and family obligations? I know you all probably have family obligations. So what has helped you balance all of that? Are you able to balance all of that?
That's more of like a really yes and no question. It's not a yes or no question. It's just like, it's a matter of where you're at mentally and what you're kind of doing. For me, I procrastinate a lot, and I also struggle like a lot with a lot of mental factors that tie into being in a whole different environment. But I think, what was it? Me and Lara are both like in the center all the time, and being around each other and just like it's my senior year, and you know, sometimes you get senioritis, so you just like don't want to do anything, but we kind of just keep up on each other of like the senior show, doing all these different things. And I think that having that environment also like helps the other younger students, because they come in with their laptops and they just sit in there and like also do work because they see us doing work. And balancing that type of lifestyle with family, because and them, it's a little bit easier. Sometimes we do have to run to Erla when like we don't have everything we need at the moment, but it's really good to have Rosie and Erla and all of them as like kind of like our little, what would you call it? Almost like our little weights, you know, that keep us down and grounded, and you know, help us realize that procrastinating isn't 100% okay. So for me, it's hard, but being, you know, picking my major and picking photography, that helped me realize my passion is art in any form. And just, that's kind of like, when you find what you really like doing, it gets a lot easier, especially if you find a major that you really enjoy, or like a class that you find interesting discussion in. It's a lot easier to do like the coursework and just kind of stay on top of your own time management.
I personally struggle. I struggle balancing all of this all the time. Now that I'm a senior, it's definitely become a lot more work because I have two different majors and I have just a whole bunch of different things going on all at once, it seems like. But I think what really helps me is that I realized recently that I'm literally almost done. So it kind of kicked me into gear to make sure that I'm on top of my schoolwork first, and then of course work after that. And then anytime I can fit any family events in, I'm gonna go see my parents whenever I can see them. I'm gonna go to a powwow this weekend. So I always try to make sure that I have some relaxation and fun in it, because I did that one semester where it was just work all the time, and I burned myself out. It was horrible. So for me, it's just making sure that I have enough relaxation time along with my work. That kind of helps me the most.
I'd say, well, I'm definitely not an expert in like time management, but I'd say the thing that always helped me is like being mindful of like my environment. Like if I'm sitting here, got a paper due, and I'm sitting in front of my Xbox, I'm probably gonna lean to one more than the other. And so I would always have to like separate myself and like say like, this is my main task, and really put my mind to like saying, this is what I'm doing for the next however long or till I get it done. That really helped me the most. And I definitely learned it by like trial by fire. You know, I was that freshman who's writing papers last second and like staying up till 2 a.m. before a midterm, and like trying to cram everything because I wasn't studying earlier. And so then as I get older, and then like I'd start trying to commit myself to doing something when I was like really set the time out to do it. And I noticed like it made things easier. My work was always better, and like better quality. And so it was like, I get it now. Like that's why people do things early and get it out the way, because it just makes it easier, and like procrastinating never works. And I definitely procrastinated too much to do that. So
so I went to the Crazy Horse program at the Crazy Horse Monument. We part of one of our classes, it was called the like Intro to College or College Success Strategies. So we worked on making schedules a lot. It's called a time management plan, and then we had like weekend rejuvenation plans. So we made those in Excel, and that really helped me when I got to college because, well, first we were doing coursework at Crazy Horse, and it was like 3 hours every other day in class. And so we had to manage our times really well. And then we also work at the monument. So that really helped me. Like the Crazy Horse program taught me a lot about scheduling, talking to people. They also talked about like your educational like village was a big thing. So like people that you can trust to talk to about, like to advise you and stuff about what you do and how long you should do it and where you should be at. That was a big thing that helped me out.
Awesome. Thank you all. I still struggle with time management, and I'm supposed to be in a adultier adult. So next question, what made you join Lakota Omnichie or the internship?
Lara, should we just open? Do you wanna unmute yourself, Lara? And
Yes,
we
I'm
can do
unmuted.
that together, all four of us. It just feels like so constructed, like we just like, okay, answer, okay, answer. But I think if we all kind of keep it open and just kind of talk, it's a little bit easier for me because I get kind of nervous, but having these guys here and like part of Lakota O and everything, it's just what really made me join it is that I went to the center at USD and then being at OLC, it was a little bit but I really found my home here just because it's just Erla, Lara, Curtis, Chubbs, everyone that's at the center. It's a really welcoming place. So like, and me and Lara being there 24/7 just makes it a lot easier. I mean, we did have Tiara here, and unfortunately she did have to leave, but we do miss her. She also made it feel very warm and welcoming. I just think like just having someone in there all the time is what makes you want to like join Lakota O, be a part like this little tiny community we have.
Yeah, for sure. When I first got here in 2017, I think it was Rosie. She was still working in the center mostly, and definitely just having someone there all the time. Like I remember the seniors that year, and they would be in here, they would be laughing around. So it just felt really like just comfortable and welcoming. And then my godbrother was here at that time too. So he would be, sitting on the couches, and I would come in and bother him, or then I would take a nap on the couches and stuff like that. And so just hanging out in the center, it kind of led to me being a part of Lakota O because of the powwow. And I'm a powwow person. I've been dancing my whole life. So of course I wanted to join that. So I've just been in Lakota O ever since then.
Yeah, and now you can see Lara crashing out on the couch.
Yep.
I never officially joined Lakota O. Like I was just kind of in the center all the time. Just kind of like, I think it was like Rosie a lot too. She would like, oh, Chubbs will help with that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll help with that. And then throughout the years, I started becoming more and more involved. Like I'd start with like just the Indian taco sales. And then I helped with the powwow a couple times. And then I got to go with Red Shirt a couple times. And so it's just kind of like a slow acclimation for me to kind of get into Lakota O. So like I never really searched out and signed up for it. It was just kind of like everyone in the center was doing this stuff and I wanted to help and be a part of it. And so that's kind of how I started. And then for the internship, it was actually Erla who approached me with it. And she explained all the aspects of it. And I thought it was really interesting and cool. And so I definitely want to help with that as well. It sounds like a really awesome thing.
Yeah, I just joined the first meeting we had. I went over there, seen some familiar faces like Caden Newbrow used to be the president of the Lakota Miche, and I remembered her from home. And Alberta Minor, like Eunice was talking about, I just remembered them. Just wanted to make some new friends, so I came into the center and just been there ever since, I guess.
I definitely feel like if you're in the center enough, you just start getting pulled into stuff. So like I put on the movie nights usually, so I usually just bother people and ask them if they're gonna come, and I'll Snapchat them and just like bother them until they show up.
Yeah, we just hunt them down.
Yeah.
You need a student and drag them in. You're like, you're our friend now.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how it goes.
Awesome. So I have one final question for you all. I know we're almost at the hour. But if you could imagine unlimited resources for Native communities on Black Hill State's campus, what would you want to see happen? I know the center has been a really great support for you all But like, and not as a critique, but just like you could dream big, anything happening for Native students, for staff, for faculty. What would you want to see?
I think I would want to see more Native faculty, because I think can't talk. I think if we had more Native faculty, it would just kind of give us a more of a presence on campus, because we only have like faculty would be really awesome for the communities up here.
I also agree, because I know having like Erla and Rosie just like almost as a person, as like a resource, it's a lot more easygoing. It feels a lot better. It feels more comfortable for us, and I think it'd be nice to see him, like especially at BHSU or like a bigger university compared to like if we went to OLC. Like at OLC, I was more comfortable with almost all most Native professors and everything. It was a lot more comfortable. That's what I had to say. Add to that.
Dreaming big, I automatically assume something expensive. So I would imagine like a big outdoor adventure vehicle that could take the Lakota students out on take hikes and spearfish. Like that's what I did a lot when I was up here in town. Like, although like you could come here and you could feel like you're in a brand new place and you're not used to it, but at the same time, like it's really special to be in the Black Hills for most of the year. And I definitely take advantage of it, and it'd be cool if more students could take advantage of it, and it'd be a little easier, and maybe like more classes that involve the outdoors, like get out of the classroom a little bit and get into the hills. That'd be my big dream.
I want a dorm with like the center in the middle. So like a all Native dorm, like a living learning community, like John Little and Megan Redshirt were talking about on the other winter camp. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I kind of want a building, not just a classroom, but dreaming big.
Awesome. I think those are really great ideas. And hopefully they come to fruition. I think it's been really neat to see the legacy of where students have been, right? Thinking like my parents went to Black Hills State University. And that was in they were there when Jace was a student. So, right, this like legacy of you all. And I think it's really awesome to see all the things that you are doing. And I'm really proud of you. I hope people tell you that often. It's really great to see students. So in closing, right, we have a couple minutes. Are there final thoughts? Are there any things you would like to plug? I know you have a powwow coming up, but any ways we can support you all as community members?
Yeah, so our powwow is coming up April 9th. First grand entry is going to be at 12. And if you guys want to follow our Facebook page, I think it's under the American Indian Studies Center, I think. And yeah, just share our information. We're still looking for vendors. If anybody wants to sell anything or any informational booths, contact me. My name's Lara, by the way. So yeah, just call the center, and if you want to be a vendor, just talk to Erla. And yeah.
Yeah, and also just keep an eye out for our film and everything that will all be updated. Anything else that we have coming with John and Ken Little, and working with Jace and Erla and like all of our interns. Believe it's me, Eunice, Christian, Wanbli, and Kayla. And then also me and Lara have our senior show April 22nd. Our reception's from 5 to 7 p.m. So anyone is free to come. The more, the merrier, because it's like we're just trying to make a stance that not only is there Native students, but there are Native artists here at BHSU.
Also, I think it's going to be at the Doll until the end of May. So even if you can't go to the reception night, please go and see it all through that month. That'd be really great.
last thing I'll say, just real quickly before we end, is shout out to the Black Hills men's basketball team who's at the national tournament right now. It's really awesome, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And I will definitely, if there is a flyer for the show, I would love to share it out through Racing Magpie's Facebook, and we'll definitely be there just down the road from the doll. So congratulations on your show. And I'm looking forward to hopefully eating an Indian taco at the powwow. I was saying I miss outside powwows. I just want like a dusty lemonade and an Indian taco. But at least April will start us out. So I really appreciate you all joining us, and we will shut down the Facebook Live, but hopefully those who joined us on Facebook can follow Black Hills State University's Center for American Indian Studies, and then be able to support you all that way. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, and the kitties.